Good morning, I'm Kevin Kieller here on day 3 of Enterprise Connect. And today with me, I am privileged to have Ron Markezich, the Corporate Vice President of Office 365, who is fresh from his keynote on the main stage. Welcome, Ron.
Thanks, Kevin, great to be here.
So, obviously Office 365, a huge platform, and there was some very key announcements that you crammed into that 30 minutes. Do you want to just review for the audience, like what were those kind of key announcements this morning?
Yeah, the things we announced today in terms of availability is call queues and auto attendant in our cloud PBX service, which our cloud PBX service is where you can move your PBX to the cloud using Skype for Business. And those are two features that were in high demand as customers moved to cloud PBX. We also announced our cloud video interop service with Polycom that will go live, so you can have meetings with any platform on the endpoint. Okay. And so that will be a great service at a super competitive price. And then we have built in additional call analytics for IT professionals into Skype for Business Online, so they can get analytics and do a better job managing that environment and understand how it's being used in Skype for Business. And the last thing we actually announced this morning is the creator update in Surface Hub. And so I'm excited about that because that brings all the 3D capabilities and really creative capabilities into the Surface Hub, the large screen hub that we have from Microsoft.
Right, and I think that one, because you only have so much time and Office 365 is so broad, you weren't able to show off that creator update, but people can go and see it on the show floor?
Yeah, we have it on the show floor. In fact, we didn't show it off because it doesn't do it justice on a big stage like that with a couple thousand people in the room. You really want to go down and interact individually with that hub. So we have those down on the show floor, and we actually loaded the creator update today since it got released this morning. It's down there and people are down playing with it right now.
Oh, fantastic. Now, I saw in the keynote you spent a fair amount of time emphasizing and showing off the newest component of Office 365, Microsoft Teams. So do you want to just give a quick overview of Microsoft Teams, and then I'll have some follow-up questions about that.
Yeah, Microsoft Teams is our newest application in Office 365 suite. With Office 365, we really have the broadest and deepest collaboration communications portfolio on the market. And we offer that through the cloud as well as on-premises components if people want to run in hybrid mode. Microsoft Teams is our persistent chat-based workspace where it really can become a hub for teamwork, for teams to work together and collaborate and have history of the team while members might come and go on that particular team. And it's integrated across the rest of Office 365. So it's integrated with SharePoint Online for content or OneNote. And you also can extend to third parties. In fact, we showed extensibility with Zendesk. So you can add Zendesk in. We have a number of third parties you can add into Microsoft Teams as well for your team to collaborate and interact with.
Okay, no, that's fantastic. And to the audience, at 3:15 this afternoon, I'll be running a session looking at team collaboration apps and what's under the hood. And I know we've got Dan from Microsoft who will be joining us and talking more about some of those integration opportunities. Great. Now, I do a lot of work with organizations who are trying to sort out their journey to Skype for Business, on premises, in the cloud with the new features that, as you said, you introduced today, very exciting. What should organizations looking at Skype think about in relationship to this Microsoft Teams capability?
Yeah, what we do with Microsoft Teams, really think of that as a tool that completes the collaboration portfolio from Microsoft. So it's integrated with Skype for Business, and it's integrated across the rest of the Office 365 suite. And so customers that are moving forward with Skype for Business deployments from the client perspective should keep moving forward with Skype for Business client deployments and ensure that we're going to make sure you have the integration that you need. We really look at Microsoft Office 365 as being a universal toolkit that meets the needs of different work styles. Every work style is unique, depending on your demographics, the type of work you do, the number of teams you might work in. You might choose different ways to work. And so we want to make sure we meet the breadth of those different ways to work.
No, that's very interesting. And I think you've talked about the hyperscale of Office 365 and the platform that it's built on top of. You had a whole bunch of interesting statistics this morning. I guess off the top of your head, are there some that especially stuck out? I was trying to tweet them, but the Wi-Fi in the room wasn't terrific. So
Well, there's a few. If you just stick on Skype for Business, right? We have 3 billion minutes of voice and video per day on Skype for Business, which is fascinating. 1 billion meetings per year in Skype for Business, which is incredible as well. And people often think of like email. It's amazing how much email still happens today. Just in Office 365, we have 6.7 billion emails per day.
So email isn't dead yet.
An email for every person on the planet
Wow.
every day in Office 365. And even SharePoint Online, we've seen a huge move in terms of using SharePoint Online, not just for content repository, but for collaboration, co-creation. We actually have 60 petabytes of content in SharePoint Online now.
Wow, those are some impressive statistics. So for an organization like thinking about Office 365, there's so many components to it. What would you suggest in terms of having them be able to experience and try out and figure out what are the pieces that are the best fit for their organization specifically?
Yeah, what we typically see in terms of customers is they'll pick one workload to go. Maybe they go SharePoint Online and they just turn it on and get people using it. Or they might say, I really want to move Exchange online, and they move that as well. I would encourage a couple of things. One is, don't hesitate to turn stuff on. Anyone that owns Office 365 today owns Microsoft Teams. Turn on Microsoft Teams and get people using it.
Makes sense.
Turn on SharePoint Online and get people using it. These don't need big projects for migration, et cetera. You can actually just turn them on and start getting value out of them. Turn on Yammer and start doing that connection. One of the things I mentioned on stage that we see a ton of value from are CEOs wanting to connect with their entire company. And what they'll do is a Skype broadcast meeting, and then they'll use Yammer to get feedback from the organization on what's top of mind, questions. You can even do polling to see how things are landing in terms of the Skype meeting broadcast. And so that's something you can just turn on and start using immediately without doing a large migration effort. So large migrations efforts are great, and we have a team called Fast Track that will help you with those.
Okay.
We'll migrate your Exchange content, we'll even migrate your SharePoint content. But there's a huge value in just turning on capabilities like Microsoft Teams, like SharePoint Online, Skype meeting broadcast, Yammer, and getting people to use them and organically use them, and they'll get value from those immediately. And then you also, as the IT administrator, will have control and visibility in terms of what's going on, rather than have all these just little adjunct apps being used out there. You'll be able to manage it, you'll have all the compliance, the controls, the security that you get in Office 365.
And I think that that's an important point. Like today you showed off the call quality analytics, and really that's focused at the IT professionals. But the Office 365 platform, I know you show off the end user kind of improvements, but behind the scenes, are there equally as many IT pro improvements that are happening, and are those some of the things that the IT pros should take some time to look at?
Absolutely, yeah, you hit that. What we tried to show today are really 3 components. Some of the end user things like Microsoft Teams and our video interop and meetings across the different platforms. But we also spent time on the IT admin capabilities, because that's an area we focus quite a bit on. Microsoft at its core is all about commercial customers, enterprise, and serving IT pros. That's our core of our company. And so from the start of Office 365, almost a dozen years ago, we actually started with the IT admin in mind. How do we give them the controls so they can make sure they manage this move to the cloud in a way that also allows them to meet their security, compliance, regulatory obligations? So I absolutely would encourage to make sure to understand all the IT admin components. We also do a series called Microsoft Mechanics regularly, where people can tune into to understand what we're doing for IT professionals. The third thing we showed is the partner extensibility, because that's an important thing. You walk on the show floor here, almost every booth is a great Microsoft partner. And they're innovating around Microsoft, they're extending capabilities, they're doing great hardware. And so we actually showed an application from Tenet Health, one of our healthcare customers, that's using Skype for Business to change the way in which their physicians serve their patients, where they can do more in-home care over Skype for Business.
Well, very interesting stuff. So lots of material. I mean, obviously a big universe you're looking over with Office 365. If people have more questions, they can find a giant Microsoft booth on the show floor, and
they can find a giant Microsoft booth on the show floor, and they can always go to the Office 365 website online as well. We have links to our Fast Track service there to help you deploy. We have information on the product and on the different service capabilities. The other thing we built in there is a productivity library that helps you understand different use cases and scenarios in which you might use Office 365. And we actually organize that not around the product, but around the industry and the role, like an HR professional, finance professional. And so that's a good thing to try out if you want to look at how do I drive the right usage within my business units.
Well, very interesting. Well, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations on a successful keynote here at Enterprise Connect 2017. And thank you if you have joined us live, and enjoy the rest of your time at Enterprise Connect. Obviously, make sure you get to the show floor. Lots of expertise in many different areas, but if you're interested in Microsoft, look for that giant Microsoft booth, and I'm sure they'll be happy to help you. Thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you.